Welcome to the Embrace the Face podcast, where we celebrate all things weird and wonderful. I'm Allie Anderson, your host, here to bring you high vibe content and interviews for your highest good in self-healing and ascension. May these episodes bring you all you need in each now, and I thank you for listening, as always. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Embrace the Face. Today, I have a very special female empowering coach, a feminine reclamation coach. I have Miss Nicole Goff with me. Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, so I was on Nicole's podcast last week and we just hit it off. We have very similar work that we do, and I love your vibe and I love your energy and I just love the work that you're doing. So we are doing a little energy exchange of being on each other's podcasts and helping to get the word out, because that's what we do, right? We empower each other and we help each other out like a little community. That's what makes the world go around. So Nicole is going to share her story, of course, and a little bit about what she does, but her background. She's a homeschooling mom of 5. So many kudos to you. Feminine reclamation coach, nervous system healing, trauma-informed somatics, embodiment, podcast host of the Ecstatic Life podcast, and an ecstatic dance facilitator. So for those of you who know me, you know that I do the somatics, the trauma-informed, the embodiment work, and I do a lot of movement medicine. And I love watching your videos and your social media, and you're just so uplifting and enlightening and just empowering and encouraging for women. So the stage is yours, Nicole. Please go ahead and just share how you got to where you are and what you do.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I guess we have to start at the beginning. I was a homeschool kid also. I was homeschooled pretty much my whole life, except for 2 fateful years. I decided to go to public school, of course, when I was 13 as an 8th and 9th grader. I picked the worst years to be like, hey, mom, I need a social life.
Oh my God. Yeah. You threw yourself in. I love it.
Oh, I totally did. I was like sheltered, kind of like weird hippie homeschool kid, very, very creative, artistic. And yeah, just threw myself to the freaking lions and joined public school at like the most tender age I
So
could.
brave. Your soul chose that for a reason.
Well, and it did. And so the experience that I had, I was just very exuberant, outgoing, trusting, open person. And because of that, I got myself in some situations with, guys at parties and things. And I ended up at 14, I was at a high school party with some older kids, and I got raped by 2 guys at the party. And it was, as you said, it was one of those things. Fate put me there, and that has been the biggest catalyst for my change and growth, really. But it was a lot of dark years. So in my teens after that, I had a really hard time in school. I had a lot of bullying that happened after that, because charges were pressed, and the guys in question, one of them was a very popular senior football player. So I ended up having to drop out of school, and I went back to homeschooling in 10th grade. Experienced a lot of ostracization, bullying, threats, attacks.
Even in homeschool, going back to homeschooling.
Well, yeah, I'm from a pretty small town, and so you couldn't help but like see people around, you know. So I think if I'd been in a big city, I probably could have disappeared a little better. But growing up in a small town, it was impossible to disappear. So yeah, people still, would see you at the mall, or when I started at the community college, people would see me on campus there, things like that. So yeah, I experienced the aftermath of it was actually, I think, worse than like the event itself. Being, I got completely ditched by my friend group, and just I became like such a pariah that I think was the hardest. That was really difficult. But then I had bad taste in men after that.
Mm.
And I kept re-traumatizing myself over and over and over with my, choices in people I would choose to hang around, situations I would choose to put myself in. I had some, dependency issues. So not anything particular, but just whatever was available to like numb out. So there was a lot of partying and a lot of escapism that happened over a lot of years, and I just was racked with anxiety. Um, you know, panic attacks for no reason and just constant feeling of dread. And so, definitely using substances to try to numb that away as well. And it wasn't until I was 21 and I became pregnant with my first daughter that I decided I had to heal. I had to do something. I had done some talk therapy. Actually, it was like court mandated that I do talk therapy. So I had done some talk therapy, but it just went around in circles. Like it never really got at the issue. And it was when I became pregnant, I said, wow, I have to take care of myself. I have to take care of myself in a very, very deep and serious way if I'm going to be a mother. So I, completely, again, isolated myself from my friend group because everybody I was hanging out with was, partying. And so I got real quiet. I got real sober. And I started doing some, for the first time, some inner exploration and really trying to heal. And from that, after I had my daughter, when she was 3, I went to school for psychology. I started to get into some somatic stuff, yoga. I think yoga was kind of a gateway for me
Mhm.
into, getting in touch with my body. I tried meditation earlier on, but I couldn't sit still. I had so much anxiety that it was like physically painful to sit still with myself. So doing things like running, running, hiking, yoga, things that where I could get into my body to move the energy through rather than like sitting with it, were really great. And then when I started college, I enrolled into a mindfulness meditation for trauma course. And so this was a study that I participated in. And that was, that really catapulted me in the healing. And from there I spent 5 years in university. I did an honors thesis on mindfulness meditation for sexual trauma. My plan was to go into working with women with sexual trauma. And then I met my current husband and had 4 more kids.
Life had other plans.
And yeah, so I ended up not finishing that PhD or not moving into the PhD program, not becoming a psychologist as I had planned, which again, I really think that that is divine intervention because after a couple of years of being away from it, I started realizing some of the less savory things about university, some of the brainwashing and some of the indoctrination and some of the way that it keeps you stuck in this cycle with student loan debt. And so I as I got further away from it, and the plan was always, well, when baby 1, baby 2, baby 3, baby 4 grows up, gets bigger, then I'll go back and I'll get my PhD, right? But the further I got away from it, the more it was like, oh, well, maybe this isn't the right path. Maybe I don't want to be $175,000 in student loan debt and then cap out at $150 an hour and be paying that off for the rest of my freaking life.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't want to be indoctrinated into this system that has this very strong, like, belief feedback loop. And, so it was actually, I think, a blessing in that way. And I kept on my healing journey and I moved in different directions and continued with the somatics. And to me, what I found is that work really gets at the root, you
Mm.
know whereas
Yes,
talk
yeah.
therapy, not to knock any psychologists, I think there's absolutely a place for it, but a lot of times you can go round and round and round and round.
I was just telling someone that is in AA who is having a hard time, and as a non-drinker myself, and on my own sober journey, I she's been going to a like a day program, and I actually asked her like how deep are they going? Like how is it surface level? Is it keeping you like I feel like those may I ask what year you were like doing your master's, going for your PhD?
So I did my bachelor's of arts in psychology and anthropology. And I did an honors program. And so that was like an extra year. So I did 5 years of university.
Okay.
And
Like
I
what
was,
year? Like the actual year. I'm
oh, oh,
just
oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
I thought you
sorry.
meant
I'm
what
sure.
year of
Yeah,
school?
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh no, I have no doubt that you are like smart as fuck, and I'm so intrigued. And I don't mean to cut off your story, but yeah, like what year?
Okay, so I went back to college when I was 25. So that was 2008, 9,
Okay. Okay.
2009. So I graduated in 2014.
Okay, so amazing. Kudos to you for going back. We'll return to that because I similar stories. But the reason I'm asking is because like you're talking about so many things and you're so right. Like the talk therapy is so surface level and like just everything. And the fact that you were learning all of that, the somatics, the holistic psychology in so long ago. I mean, that's now at this point almost 15 years, 20 years ago, right? I didn't learn any of that in nursing school. So it's like it's amazing to me that these, like you were saying, just like the surface level of what talking to a talk therapist or but somatics, I wholeheartedly agree is getting to that root. And that's what I wanted to say. Like I just feel like for I don't know, it just like popped into my head to share that.
Well, and back then, I mean, 15 years ago, nobody was talking about somatics.
Yeah, that's why I'm shocked. That's why I asked like this question.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, like so you've been th- that's like for listeners, this has been going on. These are and 100% totally agree with everything you said about university and as somebody who was like, doing the whole college thing and student loans, like it's not it's not a free way of living to me and it is just something that is also interesting to me that they were teaching this so long ago, yet it's still not being utilized today. So, just for
I
something
didn't
for people to think about.
I didn't get any of the somatic stuff through college.
Oh,
However,
okay,
it
okay.
was through the University of Florida, where I started my education, that I did the mindfulness meditation, the trauma informed mindfulness meditation course. So
Yeah,
there was that, but no, nobody was talking about somatics. Like for me, it was like I was going in and just doing yoga classes. It wasn't trauma informed yoga classes. Like
just okay.
I was doing this, but I didn't have language for it. I
I love.
just knew it was helping me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't until, it wasn't until the last 4 or 5 years that I even heard anything, maybe even less, maybe 3 or 4 years that I heard anything about, somatics or any kind of like dance therapy was a thing that I knew about, but the embodiment practices that seem much more like common vernacular in our circles. Like even in the more woo circles, nobody was talking about that stuff back
Mm-mm.
then at all. Like
Mm-mm. No, not at all.
yeah, so I felt it. I felt it because I would go to the yoga classes, and I could feel the healing that was happening,
Mm.
but it wasn't structured in a way to be mindful of that. So this was all exploration that I was doing. I was experimenting on myself.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it started for me, but not till my 30s. So that's why I'm like so in awe that when you became a mom at 21, I became a mom at 22, and it was like, well, pregnant at 22, delivered at 23, but like I went down the opposite path. I went down the pharmaceutical, Western medicine, gaslighting path. And I'm so
Yeah.
like just I've just met you, but I'm so proud of you. Like that's so amazing to be able to like recognize that. And I think that's a lot of what you do, a lot of what I do to remind women that like it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter where you are in your life. Like these things work and these are things that people don't talk about. And we're here to talk about it and to remind you. And it's you say like they weren't even talking about it yet when I got somatic training. So my somatic training is in psychedelics, like specifically, and like facilitation. So the idea that this has been going on since the beginning of time. And then, Western medicine and Western society took over to, again, you didn't learn about it in college. I didn't learn about it in college. And then here we are, 15, we both were in college at the same time. I became a nurse in 2008. And then here we are, like shouting from the rooftops, you can do it this way and it's even better. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
No, I completely agree. Taking it out of the mind and into the body. And we did, like if you think about like medicine dances and like I mean people the drums were medicine,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you're dancing around a fire to the rhythmic beats of the drums, you're moving that trauma out of your body.
Yeah.
It
The
has
chanting, the singing, the all of it.
Yeah, it has medicinal purposes. Like that is the point of those rituals. And yet we have gotten so far away from that for so long. And I do feel like we're now kind of coming back to that. And as an ecstatic dance facilitator, as an ecstatic dance like junkie, like that's like it's my
I call
freaking
myself a
church.
spiritual junkie. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's like that, like you get into that space and there's a container that is held in the same way in like a drum circle and
Mhm.
some a fire dance, like a shamanic circle. Like there's a container that is set and energy that is held by the facilitators, and then you can use that as a portal to work through whatever it is that you're needing to work through. And to me, it just gets so much deeper at the roots of whatever that trauma is. You can talk about something, and I think that's one of the things. Again, like I see a place for talk therapy, and it's I don't want to sound like I'm like so against it, but
Oh
you
yeah,
can go have the same conversation every week with your therapist and never get to the root of the problem. You can go round and round and round.
that was me for 15 years, for 10, 15 years almost. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there is nothing like getting to the nitty gritty, to the root, because it's freeing and it can be freeing in the now. You don't even have to do it for a decade. You can do it right then and there. In that,
Yeah.
that's the
And
powerful part of it.
and it can shift so fast.
Yeah.
I was in one ecstatic dance and it was like I don't even know where it came from. I moved my hips in some kind of a way and like some grief just came up and I don't even know what it was. It moved through me. I went and had a good cry. I don't even know. I didn't have words for it, but then it moved out of me and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I just got chills. I got that it was ancestral. It was like your female ancestry. So for those of you who aren't familiar, like our womb holds 7 generations of DNA and we carry our lineage with us. And in the hips and the psoas, like when you open your hips, that releases energy. So I was just doing that today in meditation, and then all of a sudden light language started channeling through even more. And then like a whole message came through. And like if you just allow yourself to open up that energetic space, move your hips. And do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about how you facilitate that? How do you get women to really just get into their bodies?
Sure, but before that, I actually wanted to go back and just double tap on something that you said. And it was about the birth of my first daughter. And you said when you had your first, that you moved into the Western pharmaceutical model. And I do just want to say that I really credit, it was, it again, not, it's divine intervention, not luck, but I was going in that direction. And so my mom had midwives. My brother was like born in a birth center. Both of us were born all natural. Like, so I had that breastfed, I had that like natural,
I
upbringing.
love that for you.
But then I was told I was a high risk pregnancy at first. And I ended up going into it thinking I needed all of this very like Western allopathic care. And I got so lucky that I had a doctor who was like, "Hey, I think you would be happier with midwives. I want to recommend you to some midwives." And that like changed the course for me because I ended up having a natural birth with no weird interventions and no drugs, and was immediately breastfed and stayed in bed with the baby, and like all that bonding and everything. Like I feel like because of that, and my mom was like there, very supportive, like right by my side, encouraging me. And I feel like because of that, that I didn't get indoctrinated into that through that birth. And I feel like this is somewhere where most women and children, babies, get co opted into the system. Because if you do end up birthing in a hospital and there are the interventions and then there's the trauma from that, and the next thing you know, it snowballs
Mhm.
and you lose your power. You
Oh
lose.
yeah,
And
100%.
so you say, okay, yeah, I need that drug. You're right. I'll take that drug. And you end up losing your sovereignty in an experience that's supposed to be taking you from maiden into mother, really actually like catapulting you into your mature female version of yourself. And yet regularly, and I would say on purpose, I think it's a conspiracy. I mean, I think it's definitely an on purpose thing, stripping women of their power in that moment when they're supposed to be so connected with their intuition and so just like entering into the portal in their power.
Oh yeah. I completely had the opposite experience. And my daughter was a NICU baby. I was also high risk. I went from 0 to 100 at 34 weeks pregnant, like preeclamptic, emergency section. And then I had horrific postpartum anxiety, depression, ignored it with the first and drank myself through it, worked myself through it. And then the second, I had also had no bonding for 3 weeks. I didn't hold my daughter until she was almost a week old because she was intubated. So I had none of that. And I couldn't even pump. I couldn't do anything because of all the meds I was on. And then with my son, basically same story times two. Had to become sterile at 25. And I had a looking back, I was so frozen from it all. And they sent me to the local clinic. And I remember sitting in the doctor's office. It was a female doctor, and she handed me 3 prescriptions. It was for Zoloft, Klonopin, and Seroquel for sleep. And that was the beginning of my dark nights of the soul, let's just say, until because I think that's just so beautiful that you had that upbringing. And all I can say is that that is my catalyst to break all of these cycles and return to my roots so that I can show my children, even though I got into it later. And my teens are, I have one who's relatively more spiritual than the other. The other one was a crystal baby and a yoga baby. And now she is, into her being a teenager and 16. And I just pray that she will find her way back. But like, that's all we can do is to empower women. And I guess I never really, I knew that I went through trauma, but I never really realized that like I didn't have that experience. So, and it's so important for women. And that's especially coming from somebody who like missed out on that. That is sometimes like a sadness for me, right? Like, but that's okay. That's my journey. That's what got me here. So yeah, I think that there's not that it's just so invaluable. Like what the wisdom that you have, the knowledge that you have, Western, Eastern, the life experience, the just everything. And just being a ecstatic dance facilitator in general just shows like your passion, because nobody just goes into that. Like nobody's just like, I'm going to be an ecstatic dance facilitator. So how do you like what does that entail? Is it like dance school? What is it?
No. So, okay. Have you been to an ecstatic dance?
I have been to like one event. Yes.
Okay. So you have a taste. So it's a
Yeah,
sober
it was a brief event.
It's a sober container. So the traditional five rhythms actually moves you in an hour and a half long dance. It moves you through the five elements and it takes you on a journey. I'm not trained in that. I might someday be, but I've experienced, the traditional five rhythms dance. And then a lot of times ecstatic dances are a little more free form where it doesn't, follow the original blueprint so
Okay, yeah,
closely.
that must have been what I was at. Yeah.
But it's a closed container you enter into with agreements. So it's a sober container. There is no talking. There is no cell phone use. Once you're in, the doors are locked. If you leave, you can't come back. Um, it's a space where you are very respectful of other people's sovereignty. So some people do dance, but it's you. There must be an unspoken agreement to enter into another person's space, so that it's not like going to a club, although there's like some club vibes with it.
Yeah.
DJs and lights, and like sometimes it's like a clubby vibe, but you're not there to, I mean, I guess if you want to have an experience with another person, then the other person is like in agreement with that, but that's not the point. The point is to go there for your inner exploration. And it's a very healing. And so, what a facilitator does is a facilitator sometimes creates the playlist. Sometimes there's DJs. I create playlists. I actually, Saturday, I'm hosting a kids ecstatic dance.
Oh my God, that's so cute. I love it.
I had my kids help me put together the playlist. Um, I had to nix some of the songs. So I was like, oh my gosh, what do I let you guys listen to? There's like cuss
Oh,
words all over the place and like talking about all kinds of like inappropriate things for children. I'm like, what do I let you children listen to?
I know.
I might be okay with this, but I don't know about other parents. So,
Yeah, no. I
but
know.
yeah. So anyways, I curated a playlist that was, it's not just for kids, but it's got a very like fun, playful, like whimsy. It's like the the whole thing is designed to be like silly and fun and playful. So it invites that energy in the playlist.
I love it.
So the facilitator, we sit in a circle, and the facilitator leads usually either some form of breath work or movement or meditation, depending on the facilitator. Like they bring their own vibe. Um, and a lot of times you do like a group or sometimes there's activities where you turn to a partner and you have a partnered activity that you do beforehand. And then you go into the dance, usually starts off in a meditative state. You move up, there's a crescendo, everybody gets wild and crazy. And then it moves back down and you end with meditation in another circle where everybody shares what they experienced.
Okay.
Heart shares. So a lot of times people will have transformative experiences. Like I said, like the time I just like this grief just came like, billowing out of me out of nowhere. Like I shared about that in the circle, and people hold space for that. So um, it's a very
Sacred. Yeah.
sacred. Yes, it invites you to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
The way the container is set, it invites you to be vulnerable and to open up. And there's so much just healing that can happen in being witnessed in that way.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. I remember I went when I was in Sedona, we did this. It's almost like being vulnerable to be seen. We did this exercise where it was like you sat in the middle of a circle and like everybody gave you a compliment kind of thing, and like you let them into your space and you let them feel your energy and you let them just respect your sovereignty and make you feel good about who you are and to feel safe. And that's most important. And I think that between everything you do, the nervous system healing, the trauma informed somatics, the embodiment work, like we were talking in the last recording and then prior to recording, that women's sexual trauma is a huge deal, and you shared so much of your story and I've shared a little bit with you. And to be a female in this world to want to feel safe in your body, to want to own who you are, to feel powerful, to feel sexy, to feel sensual, to feel safe to be you, to feel safe to be with another individual. Um, I think I shared in the last podcast, I believe that I had the forensic nursing certification and I did sexual assault nursing and it was so heavy energy for me. I like didn't follow through with the rest of the clinicals. It was just too much. But like one thing that I took out of it and just my years of ER nursing and having women come into the ER of, being roofied, not remembering, and having these horrific experiences. And the idea of I can't meditate, but I want to heal, because when you can't sit still with yourself, like, and people say I can't meditate, first of all, that's like my favorite challenge. Let me show you how, because there's so many different forms of meditation. And like, no matter how fucked up your nervous system is, like, you could take a walk and that's meditation. Like, so for movement, that in somatics, the top down processing versus bottom up processing. And it's like the idea that not everybody can just sit still. People need to move, and especially females, to get it out of the hips, to get it out of the sacral, to get it out of the root, to get it out of the heart, to get out of the mind and into the heart, and to like feel safe. And I think that what you do and just the environment that you provide for women especially is so beautiful, because
Yeah.
it's your story, it's your baby, it's your gift, it's the
Yeah.
alchemy, it's your alchemy in transformed into your service.
Yeah. And I'm actually committed to writing a book about it.
Amazing, as you
June. And I
in
put it out.
June.
Yep, I put it out here again. I keep saying it out loud on the internet so that I don't chicken out. But yeah,
Yes, I know, right? They always say don't share what you're doing, but also like do, because otherwise you're not holding yourself accountable.
exactly. Yeah. So this is the third time now I've said it on a podcast. I'm writing a book this summer.
And so it is. It's
And so
done.
it
It's already
is.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been on my heart for 10 years. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Good for you.
Well, and that's why I actually started with the mindfulness meditation, because I guess what a lot of us think of as the traditional form of meditation, sitting still, being quiet, wasn't accessible to me.
Hmm.
But through mindfulness and just paying attention to things in your surrounding, walking meditation, these kinds of things, I was able to still access the peace here and there.
Hmm.
So that was a really great place to start. And of course, I weave mindfulness into the work that I do with women now. I work in group containers, and I also do one on one coaching. I just started, today was the first day of a new container I'm doing called Pleasure Led, which is in tapping into your desires
I love
and then working on honoring them and manifesting those into your life. Because again, with like how much are we taught that like our desires, and I don't even mean sexual desires, which that of course is part of it, but
it.
just like I wish I had more time to paint. I wish I
That
could
is
go
a
to a
desire.
yoga class a couple days a week or go to a dance class, like these kinds of desires. Like, like in order to give ourselves the permission to follow our pleasure and to follow what lights us up and to follow what feels good and not feel freaking guilty about it. Because
So
especially as moms, it's like we're just so conditioned to like, oh, you have a free hour? Like, what's on your to do list?
right. Yeah, I know there's always something. It actually this just reminded me, out of all my years of talk therapy, so I'm in New York State and we had this offering a few years ago during COVID for like free 8 weeks of talk therapy. And I was like, why not? Like, I'll take advantage of it. And the man, he was like 70 years old, and he kept telling me every week for 8 weeks, and it drilled in my head, self-care is not selfish. And like I've always said that, and but I never actually like lived it, and it shifted something in me. And you're right, like it's not like, don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty for putting yourself first. Like, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a partner, you're whatever it may be, and you're running yourself ragged. But at the end of the day, like, if I mean, it's so cliche, but if you don't take care of you, then what's going to happen? Like you're not going to live out your dreams. You're not going to live out your highest potential, your highest timeline. You're just going to constantly live on a hamster wheel of saying I'll start tomorrow. And that's not
Yep.
how it happens.
You can't pour from an empty cup. It's cliche, but I literally say it all the time too. Yeah, I actually, that's so awesome that that guy like drilled that into your head.
Oh yeah.
Literally every program I do, I have multiple like graphics that I post in my group chats that say self care is not selfish.
I
Because
love it.
you have to keep repeating it. So I keep repeating it to the women I work with. You have to keep repeating it. Self care is not selfish. So it's so
Yeah.
that's
Oh, it
amazing that
worked for
he.
me. That's so funny. I'm
Yes.
glad I shared that. Yeah. I still to this day I'm like self-care is not selfish. Now I tell other people the same thing, you know? And it's true. We're so wired differently than men. Men, you know, the hustle and the grind and they're on the 24-hour cycle. We're on the 28-day cycle, and it's not, you know, we are not built the same. So don't feel like you need to compete with the man-made world, the 3D world. Dude,
Yeah.
listen to your body, trust your intuition. It's what it's all about. Anything else that you want to share? I love this conversation.
Oh, gosh. Well, there's a million different directions that we could go, but I would say on that particularly is a big part of the upcoming program that I'm doing right now, which we're cycle tracking in order to honor our rhythm. So that is something that's been really on my heart lately as well. I do believe that it is a trauma response to be in go mode all the time. And that's not just if you've suffered from sexual trauma, that's a trauma response to the world that, you know, we have been conditioned that our worth is tied to our output and our productivity and the masculine drive rather than our beingness.
Mhm.
And so softening into that, you know, self care is not selfish, it is essential. If you are a woman, it is essential to fill yourself back up, to do things that feel good to you, to follow your passions, to follow your eros, as I like to call it, your vital life force energy, which is
Yeah.
also like tied to that erotic energy. It's that
Uh,
ecstatic energy. So it lights you up. And if you're not feeding back into that, then everyone around you, not just yourself, but everyone around you is going to suffer. Your kids and your husband and your family and your friends. Like, you can't keep giving if you're not putting back in. So, yeah, I mean,
it's so
I'll
true.
harp on that.
Oh, it's so true because the minute I started really like investing in myself and even with clients when like I remind them like it's okay, like it's safe to invest in yourself. It's safe to like put yourself first. Like, oh, but what about my kids and this and that? When I worked in the ketamine clinic, I remember I had a few moms who couldn't even shut their phones off or like didn't want to let go of their cell phones during their 20-minute infusion because they couldn't miss a call from their kid or their kid's school. And now, mind you, like, you know, we'd talk about this and we'd go into that and like, what is the circumstance? Is there like an emergent circumstance? Like, you can't, you know, let go of your phone? Like, what's the deal? But ultimately, it is this energy, this frequency that we hold for ourselves that we can't just be. And like meanwhile, they were investing in themselves hundreds and thousands of dollars at a time to go through these treatments to help themselves, their depression, their anxiety, their OCD. At the core of it, their soul healing, their nervous system regulation. But they couldn't like that's where like the recognition comes in, I think, when I would remind them like this time is for you. Like you came here for a reason. Like you can put the phone away. It starts with that. It starts with that one thing. Give yourself 20 minutes right now. You come twice a week for 3 weeks. Give yourself those 20 minutes Whether it was like, I mean, it was for ketamine, but whatever it is, give yourself 20 minutes, give yourself 5 minutes a day, give yourself 10 minutes a day. I am a woman who I was running on fumes in fight, flight, freeze, fawn for the first 2 decades, like of my, my teens into my 30s. And like, I was that empty cup. And now I'm here to tell you that if you just put yourself first, and you're here to say the same thing, like, put yourself first, and the universe can't help but give that back to you in
Yeah.
leaps and bounds, in abundance, monetarily, in relationships, in your own personal freedom, body, mind, soul. So yeah, it's a life's work. It's a lifestyle.
It is. It is. And the thing is, too, I feel like for people like us doing this kind of work, we come on here to do these podcasts for free, and it's a
Mhm.
permission slip. You know, it's a permission slip. I feel like that's the best thing we can do for other women is to say, hey, look, it's okay to be you. It's okay to invest in yourself. It is like, here's the permission slip. It's healing is possible.
Oh yeah,
And to show that, you know,
yeah. And
these
that life
conversations are
gets to
so
be good.
important.
Life gets to be good if you let it.
Yep.
It starts with that one thing. Thank you so much. This was so enlightening. I love this so much. Is there anything else that you want to share with anybody? Words of wisdom?
I would love to say that I do have a free guide up on my website. So currently, my website is Nicole Goff, Goff, NicoleGoffSpeaks.com. I'm transitioning over to NicoleDesireeGoff.com, which is the same handle I use on all the social media platforms. But I have a free guide, which is the mindfulness meditation for sexual trauma. It's a 60 page, so it's kind of like an ebook, and that leads you through the different practices, the different meditations, and the theory behind them, and the research. So I would definitely invite anybody to go check out my website and download that for free. I have always some kind of group experience going on, and then I'm available for one-to-one as well. So
Thank you so much. I'm going
yeah.
to share all of your information, all your links. And yeah, I think that just the work that you're doing is just, there's no doubt in my mind that we connected for a reason. So thank you just for being here. The work you're doing is incredible. And I'm going to share it all over the place. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Peace out and God bless.